in the shadowy corners of Japanese folklore, where ancient beliefs intertwine with modern culture, there exists a creature so fearsome and yet so fundamental to Japanese identity that its influence can be felt from centuries-old temples to contemporary anime studios. The Oni, Japan's legendary demons, have terrorized and fascinated generations with their grotesque appearance, supernatural powers, and complex role in shaping the moral and spiritual landscape of Japanese society. Today, we're going to unmask these terrifying beings and explore how these horned monsters have evolved from harbingers of doom to beloved cultural icons that continue to captivate audiences worldwide. The word Oni itself carries a weight that simple translation cannot capture. While often rendered as demon or ogre in English, these terms fail to convey the nuanced position Oni occupy in Japanese consciousness. Originally derived from the word on, meaning to hide or conceal, Oni were initially invisible spirits that brought disease, disaster, and death. Over centuries, these formless, malevolent forces took shape in the Japanese imagination, evolving into the distinctive creatures we recognize today. Hulking figures with wild hair, fearsome fangs, and most iconically, sharp horns protruding from their heads. Their skin, typically depicted in vivid red or blue, stretches over muscular frames that dwarf ordinary humans, while their minimal clothing, often just a loincloth made of tiger skin, emphasizes their primitive, untamed nature. But to understand the Oni's true significance, we must journey back to ancient Japan, where these creatures first emerged from the intersection of indigenous Shinto beliefs and imported Buddhist concepts. In early Japanese society, Oni served as explanations for the inexplicable: why crops failed, why diseases spread, why natural disasters struck without warning. They inhabited the liminal spaces that humans feared to tread: mountain passes, abandoned buildings, and the borders between villages. This geographical positioning wasn't arbitrary. It reflected the Japanese concept of Oni as beings that existed at the boundaries between order and chaos, civilization and wilderness, life and death. The Buddhist influence on Oni mythology cannot be overstated. As Buddhism spread through Japan from the 6th century onward, it brought with it concepts of karma, hell, and divine punishment that fundamentally transformed how Japanese people understood Oni. No longer were they simply chaotic forces of nature. They became instruments of cosmic justice, punishing the wicked and maintaining the moral order. Buddhist texts described elaborate hells where Oni served as prison guards and torturers, meting out punishments that fit the crimes of the damned. This transformation elevated Oni from mere monsters to agents of divine retribution, adding layers of moral complexity to their characterization. Perhaps nowhere is this complexity more evident than in the famous tale of Shuten Doji, one of Japan's most notorious Oni. According to legend, Shuten Doji was a powerful Oni who established a fortress on Mount Oi, from where he terrorized the capital city of Kyoto, kidnapping young women and consuming human flesh. The emperor, desperate to end this reign of terror, dispatched the legendary warrior Minamoto no Raiko and his companions to defeat the demon. Through cunning and divine assistance, they succeeded in beheading Shuten Doji, but even in death, the Oni's severed head attempted to bite Raiko, demonstrating the persistent danger these beings represented. This tale, recorded in various forms throughout Japanese history, exemplifies how Oni stories served multiple purposes: entertainment, moral instruction, and the reinforcement of social order through the triumph of imperial authority over chaotic forces. The visual evolution of Oni tells its own fascinating story. Early depictions from the Heian period show relatively humanoid figures, but as centuries passed, their appearance became increasingly codified and exaggerated. The horns, initially small protrusions, grew into prominent features that could number 1, 2, or occasionally 3. The club, or kanabo, became their weapon of choice, a massive studded iron rod that could pulverize enemies with a single blow. This standardization wasn't merely artistic convention. It reflected the Oni's transformation from varied local spirits into a unified category of being within Japanese cosmology. Artists of the Edo period, particularly ukiyo-e masters, further refined the Oni aesthetic, creating images so powerful and enduring that they continue to influence how we visualize these creatures today. The Setsubun festival represents one of the most intriguing aspects of Oni's cultural integration. Held annually on February 3rd, Setsubun marks the beginning of spring in the traditional calendar and involves the ritual of mamemaki, throwing roasted soybeans while chanting Oni wa Soto, Fuku wa Uchi, the demons out, fortune in. During this ceremony, someone typically dons an Oni mask to represent the evil spirits being driven away, transforming a fearsome demon into a participatory element of community celebration. This ritual demonstrates how Japanese culture has developed mechanisms to symbolically control and expel the chaotic forces Oni represent, turning fear into a manageable, even enjoyable, cultural practice. Theater has played a crucial role in shaping public perception of Oni, particularly through No and Kabuki performances. In No theater, Oni often appear in plays exploring themes of jealousy, rage, and transformation. The play Momijigari, for instance, features a beautiful woman who reveals herself to be an Oni, using the demon form to explore themes of deception and the dangerous nature of unchecked desire. Kabuki theater took these portrayals even further, with elaborate costumes, dramatic makeup, and stylized movements that made Oni simultaneously more theatrical and more human. These performances didn't merely entertain. They provided a safe space for audiences to confront their fears and explore the darker aspects of human nature through the metaphor of demonic transformation. The Meiji Restoration of 1868 marked a turning point in Oni perception, as Japan rapidly modernized and adopted Western scientific rationalism. Traditional beliefs in supernatural creatures faced challenges. However, rather than disappearing, Oni adapted to the changing times. They transitioned from literal beings that people feared encountering to symbolic representations of various concepts: ignorance, disease, foreign threats, or internal struggles. This symbolic flexibility allowed Oni to remain relevant even as Japanese society transformed, demonstrating the remarkable adaptability of folklore in the face of modernization. Contemporary Japanese popular culture has embraced Oni with unprecedented enthusiasm, reimagining these ancient demons for new generations. In manga and anime, Oni appear in countless variations, from the comedic alien invaders in Urusei Yatsura to the tragic demons in Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. These modern interpretations often humanize Oni, exploring their motivations, relationships, and capacity for redemption. Video games have similarly embraced Oni, featuring them as everything from mindless enemies to complex characters with rich backstories. This proliferation across media hasn't diluted the Oni's cultural significance. Instead, it has created new layers of meaning and allowed for creative reinterpretations that keep the tradition alive and evolving. The influence of Oni extends far beyond entertainment into the realms of art, fashion, and design. Contemporary artists draw on Oni imagery to explore themes of identity, tradition, and modernity. Fashion designers incorporate Oni motifs into clothing lines that blend traditional aesthetics with cutting-edge style. Even in architecture and urban design, Oni-inspired elements appear in unexpected places, from restaurant facades to public art installations. This widespread adoption speaks to the Oni's transformation from objects of fear to symbols of Japanese cultural identity that can be proudly displayed and creatively reinterpreted. In examining why Oni maintain such a powerful hold on the Japanese imagination, we must consider their psychological and sociological functions. Oni embody the concept of the other, that which exists outside normal society and its rules. They represent the consequences of moral transgression, the dangers of unchecked emotion, and the chaos that threatens social order. Yet they also serve as a release valve for societal pressures, allowing people to imagine and even temporarily embody forces of rebellion and destruction within controlled cultural contexts. This dual nature, threat and catharsis, helps explain their enduring appeal across centuries of dramatic social change. As we look toward the future, it's clear that Oni will continue to evolve alongside Japanese society and its global cultural influence. New technologies like virtual reality and augmented reality offer unprecedented opportunities for immersive Oni experiences, while international collaborations introduce these demons to audiences who may have no background in Japanese folklore. Yet even as Oni spread across the globe and take on new forms, they remain anchored in their cultural origins, serving as ambassadors of Japanese tradition even as they adapt to contemporary contexts. The story of Oni is ultimately a story about humanity's relationship with fear, morality, and the unknown. These terrifying demons, born from ancient anxieties and shaped by centuries of cultural evolution, have transcended their origins to become complex symbols that can be feared, laughed at, sympathized with, and even loved. In Unmasking the Oni, we discover not just monsters, but mirrors reflecting our own struggles with the darker aspects of existence and our endless capacity to transform fear into art, horror into humor, and ancient demons into enduring cultural treasures. The Oni's journey from invisible terrors to visible icons demonstrates the power of folklore to adapt, survive, and thrive across generations, ensuring that these horned demons will continue to captivate and terrify for centuries to come.